Okay, then let me make you host. Yep. But just keep an eye on it, okay, if anyone joins.
Sure.
Okay, we're all set. Yeah, you are a host now. You can share the screen. And yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm able to share. I started sharing. Let me know if everyone can see.
Good, good. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
We can see you.
Okay, great.
good.
Yeah, we can see it.
Nice.
Yeah, please go ahead. And if
There
anyone
are, along with us, there are 13 participants.
Right.
Okay, let's get started then. Hi all.
Yeah, yeah. You can start with introduction. Yeah, slowly. People might join like another 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hi all. Good evening, and for people who are joining from India, good evening. My name is Kiran. So I have around like 16 years of both testing experience, and from last 2 years I'm working as like a full stack developer. So when I say full stack, it includes both development and testing. So I was leading a development team from last 1 year. So predominantly my major skill set is automation testing. When I say automation, worked with Selenium for almost 6 to 7 years, and recently we moved to Cypress. Currently, we are using a tool called Cypress, and that is using with JavaScripting, and also had some experience working with Test Cafe. So predominantly use these three, Selenium, and to some extent with Protractor. And also from last 1 year, we're working predominantly on Cypress. And along with that, I also, like in the last 16 years, I would have almost interviewed around 100. I would have taken 100 QA interviews. So I would definitely give you some tips on how to attend an interview if anyone are looking to join into QA, come into QA stream, and along the workshop, while covering some topics, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to attend some interviews and how to crack the interviews. And also, I give many automation trainings internally in the company for the team. And this is the first time out of company which I'm giving. Out of company setup, this is the first time, but internally gave many trainings. That's how I worked along with Ravi for 1 year, and that's how Ravi also knows me. I give internal Java training and Selenium training for all the team. So that's how he knows that I give trainings in the area. That's a quick brief introduction about me. Let me see. Join. Any? I am assuming that who are joining are new to QA area. Does anyone has prior experience in QA or any IT experience?
Kiran, a good number of our team is from non-IT background, but I'm sorry, did I cut
Yeah,
in?
no.
Yeah. So good number of our friends, they're from non-IT background, but few of them, they have IT, IT concepts. They know that,
Okay.
pretty good. So, let's take it from from scratch. Okay.
Sure. We would, for example, we would start our QA workshop from, I think, next week, not this weekend, but coming weekend from, I think it's from Jan 8th and 9th. Yes, sir. Yeah, 8th and 9th. So we'll start from 8th and 9th. Yeah, we will start as if from the clean slate. We will start from ground zero thinking that no one has any IT background, starting from basic concepts, and then we will build upon slowly. We will cover most of the, before going into the topics, just want to give you an update on a quick update on the current QA industry, or how what is the current industry in US, especially right now. There is a bright. This is the right time to enter into the industry because because of this coronavirus situation. There's a lot of people not able to enter into US. For example, I know my relative who recently got H1, but he's not getting an interview slot with US consulate. Not able to. He has to supposedly, like he's supposed to come on October 1st, but till now he's still in India. Working for not able to get a US consulate slot. So, but there are because of these kind of situations, there's a lot of openings in companies, and they want people to start immediately. So this is a right time for people who wants to enter into the industry, and there's a lot of openings. Especially in IT background, for anyone who's learning, who has some kind of certifications like IS2QB or Agile, Scrum certifications, that really adds up to your job hunt. So we will target, like when we are talking about manual testing, we will target IS2QB certification. So if anyone interested can definitely take that. So we will cover some of the major concepts when we are talking about manual testing for IS2QB. And Ravi, talking about Ravi, he has a good network of people, so definitely Ravi can help in getting getting an opportunities for for job opportunities for people who are looking to get into a job. And yeah, also Ravi is very passionate about community service. That's one thing I like about him. So whenever he came up with this proposal, definitely that's one thing. When I used to work with Ravi, he always used to talk about the community service, and the way he networks with the people is like a good. It is a great advantage working with Ravi.
Thanks, Kiran, for all the kind words.
Yeah, and we from last I think 1 month when Ravi came up with this proposal, we were discussing about what to include, how do we pace this course so that how effectively we can tell this content to everyone. So we did a lot of brainstorming from last 1 month to see what concepts to include, how do we prepare for the QA job. So a lot of thought process went in, and how to pace, how much, what is the right amount of duration we have to specify for these topics. That's what we thought, like weekends. Definitely I cannot spend more time on weekdays, so weekends would be ideal for me, and that too in weekends. I think we can spending more than 3 hours per day would be like an overkill for everyone. So that's what we thought, like 3 hours would be in right time, so that you can concentrate well, and then you'll have the whole week, like next 5 days, to think about what we talk. You can do more research on the topics that we covered, and then you can come with some doubts, and first we'll clear those doubts and then go into the next topics. That's what we decided to proceed with the workshop. Yeah, I'll stop here for 5 minutes. Let's see if anyone has any doubts. Before then, we'll move on to what topics we are going to cover in this workshop.
Can you speak a little bit louder, Sudha?
Yes, Ravi. Yeah. So, are you? Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
What is the duration of this course, and the hands-on? Do you give any hands-on kind of training, or can you please explain this, Kiran?
Yeah, sure. Duration is like, if you see, there's like kept it like 4 weeks. So each day 3 hours. So for example, in a total like 6 hours in a week, like Saturday, Sunday. So 6 hours would be a duration. And definitely I will show you hands-on when it comes to automation testing, or whatever I will show you on hands-on. And then you can practice and come up with the doubts.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I have one question, right? You are in this industry for such a long time. So, apart from the QA, specifically for the QA, what all areas this training will help us in terms of IT industry?
Actually, this training will give you a orientation of, if you, for example, if you are touching QA, this you'll get an idea of whole, like QA. When I say QA, when you are testing something, you need to understand the whole product. For example, you need to understand when you need to understand software lifecycle. When you are understanding about software lifecycle, you need to understand like how we're gathering requirements, you need to understand what developer does in developer phase, and how do you get a build for testing. And once you get a build, you apply all your testing knowledge, you test it, and then post testing, how it goes to production, and post in production, if you get any bugs, how you treat. So when you discuss all this, you'll be getting a flavor of everything what's going on in a real-time project in an IT industry. So it's not just QA. So you would be getting all that exposure to post QA, pre-QA activities, post QA activities, and then we will talk about scripting. We will talk about core Java before even going to automation. We will talk about some core Java concepts. So that is something like a development. So you would be getting a flavor of all the items, all the areas in an end-to-end project implementation. Is that what you're asking, Soumya?
Yeah, exactly. So like I was thinking, like if I join as a BA, because BA, so what I really feel like is IT industry or job is like a back and forth. Like you should, from starting to end, you should know the process. So yeah, you cleared my doubt for thank you so much.
Well, basically, nowadays, definitely there will be QA. If you take any IT company, there won't be any IT company without a QA job. But in some companies, there is no QA job. There are like full stack developers. So everyone has to do everything. So even some companies are moving into that stage as well, where you have to do everything. You need to know a bit of everything. So if somebody wants to be a developer, they should know how to test as well. So that way, if anyone were interested not in QA but somebody wants to be a BA, they need to know how to do like how QA works. At least like what is the responsibilities of QA, or how QA actually works, or how they do a regular day-to-day job. And also, if somebody wants to be a developer, nowadays people are not, especially in some MNCs, they're not considering people to just do QA job or just do developer job or just do some deployments job. They want to understand a bit of everything, and you have to be proficient in one area, but you should also know other areas as well. So that's what like a full stack developer, when we say full stack developer is, he's strong in one area, but he can also do other areas as well. Like I'm strong in QA, but I can also do a bit of development. I can also do a bit of deployments. So I can also do a bit of BA job. So that's what they're looking at end of the day. But people who wants to first enter into industry, I think QA is a right area to enter. Once you enter into the industry with a QA knowledge, while you're doing the job, you should eventually gradually get into some other area, get the knowledge of other areas, like a bit of development or a bit of deployments, so that you will be becoming you should target for a full stack developer eventually.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I was going to ask what is the full stack developer, but you answered my question. Thank you.
Kiran, can I add a comment on it, on top of it?
Sure, Ravi.
Yeah. If you take the IT industry, right, whether it is a project manager or business analyst or a scrum master, right? So we work very closely with the development team. We work very closely with the QA teams. Now it is like, as Kiran said that, right? IT industry is so much integrated that we cannot segregate like certain technology from other technology. So even though we may not be master in any technologies, but it's pretty much expected. It's not an advantage, actually. It is like a minimal requirement that we should be having an idea about different technologies. So that's why it's definitely minimum requirement nowadays in the job industry.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. Yeah, I understand like everything has an impact on something, so at least we should have an idea of what is impacting, what is causing the problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Even the Java, JavaScript,
right.
Like all of them. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Kiran, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so even when I started with manual testing, and then eventually got into like when we are doing testing, we talk a lot with developers. So we will understand like how they're developing. We will understand their like if a developer is developing on a Java code, nowadays nobody will stop us we can always go and ask like what technologies they're using. Like I would always install those, whatever my core developers are. Like if they're developing using some Eclipse, I install Eclipse on my machine and I put the code into my whatever the developer code. I put it in my machine and try to run that and see the code and learn something from that code, and ask if I have any doubts, ask developers. That's something we can, that's how like you grow. Once you get into an industry, you create that kind of a interactions with developers and learn from them and learn with the team. So that's how I got some experience on development, and then started more into automation testing, and then started with QTP. I think in 2009, that's where we don't even have Selenium at that extent during that time. That time I started with QTP and with VB scripting. That time QTP VB scripting is very, it's like everyone were using mostly for automation QTP with VB scripting, and that started with that. That's how I started my developer experience. Like when you're doing scripting on VB scripts, you write some code, basic code, and then execute that using QTP tool, and then slowly Selenium picked up from 2011. Most of the companies then started moving to Selenium, and from then 2011 I was like extensively working on Selenium. Then slowly moved into database testing. So ETL testing. I used to work with JP Morgan. So there, we extensively used tested on ETL testing, and then I almost covered like JMeter with performance testing, except app testing. Almost covered like database testing, ETL testing, web applications testing using manual and automation using VB scripting. We also wrote some scripting using Python. So Python is, that's what in week 4, we added this scripting thing where not just like Java programming, we also automate. When we say automation tester, we should also have some exposure to scripting. So while you attend any QA interviews, they ask about scripting, some questions on scripting. So we will cover that scripting as well. Once we understand basics of automation, then we will also know go into scripting techniques, what we use. So we'll slowly build up from basics, from manual testing. That's how we designed this course as also. So slowly we will build up from basic concepts to medium concepts and then to advanced level.
So right now you're completely within, you're working as a Java full stack developer, right, Kiran?
Yeah, currently when I say full stack developer, so we develop our code and we do unit testing on our code, and we also write automation testing on our code. So that's how. We get a requirement. So we take, for example, if I'm developing a screen, I develop that screen. And I write unit tests in that screen, and I also write automation tests using. Currently, we are using Cypress. So we write Cypress scripts, and that's how we say the requirement is complete. Until then, and we do that in a sprint. So we make sure that we take up the work such a way that we complete all this in a sprint. Either it is sometimes it's sprint is 2 weeks, 3 weeks sprint. So we complete that, and then again we take one more requirement.
So you develop a screen as well as the back end work also you do, right?
So, sorry, can you repeat the question?
So you develop a screen as well as if you have any back end work also.
Yes, yeah, it is end to end. When we take one requirement, we develop. For example, currently we are using React. So React for developing the screen, and in the backend we are using Node.js. So, and sometimes we use Java as well. So we are using both combination of Node.js and Java for API development. So the screens are all in JavaScript and React, and in the back end interacts with APIs. The APIs are written in either Node or Java.
Okay.
When I say Java, it is Java Spring Boot. And then mostly UI testing is all, Cypress is all about UI testing. So we write scripts for UI testing, and we do JMeter for mostly on the APIs.
Okay. So I'm wondering, you were into the testing field for a long time. After that, you jumped into development. So you did not feel any, difficulties, Kiran?
Yeah, good question. In fact, I felt development is more easy than testing because I was, it's nothing to scare. QA is more about responsibility. You are responsible when somebody, you will be in the first line of defense. Once you do your QA test, when you get a build and somebody asks you to test, you have to certify the build is working fine, and you have to, once you certify, then it becomes your responsibility. If something goes wrong in production, the first finger will come to QA telling that why you have not tested this, or why you have not done this. And then after passing the QA, then somebody will say, why ask the developer why you have missed this requirement. But nobody will say developers, the first thing they'll come is to QA team. So QA team is, the job is not that complicated, but the responsibility on a QA is more. So we have to be very patient, as well as while you are testing. That's one of the primary requirement. And especially when you're doing, when you do a lot of automation, it is equivalent to development. And once you write a script, we cannot say I'm done, because you have to keep on improving that script for every build. That script will work for one build. Then when you run that script on the second build, that might fail because the UI components might change. So you have to keep on improving your automation scripts. That's a very challenge. Writing a script is not a challenging. Making sure that the script works for multiple builds is a challenging thing in automation. So when you have that experience of automation, right? So if you really excel in automation, then development would be very, very easy. That at least that's what I didn't feel much. I felt like because when you in development, when you write when you develop something, once it is working fine, unless until the user says I need some change on that requirement, you need not touch that code again. So that way, development, I felt like development I was able to easily fit into development because I have that I was doing automation for almost 10 years, and almost like 13 years before I shifted into development. So yeah, if you do more automation, easily that will easily pave a good path for development. Yeah, great questions. Good that we have a good audience who are more interactive. Nice to get these kind of questions. Any more questions?
Hey, Kiran, this is Jerusha. What is the difference between QA automation and manual testing, please?
Yeah, good question, Jerusha. So manual testing is when you get build. So you normally, for example, a website, somebody where you are supposed to test a Amazon site or online shopping website. So a developer will give you a build. Once the development is complete, they deploy the build into some QA environment. For example, Amazon.qa.com, that's your QA environment. Amazon.com is a production environment. So first they will develop in Amazon.dev.com. That is an internal developer site. They develop that. Once they think that the development is complete, normally they will deploy it to a QA environment like Amazon.qa.com. And they send a mail to a testing team telling that, hey, we done our development, you can start testing. So you would be having a time period of like 2 weeks to test all the development they have done. So once they say your development, your QA start your testing, you open that Amazon.qa.com, that's a QA build, and you test as an end user. You open you log in, you test your login functionality, you test your site functionality like searching a particular product, adding it to a cart, submitting an order. You all test it with the different scenarios. You prepare those scenarios upfront. When developer team is developing that, you prepare those how you have to test. You will prepare that, and you execute those test cases manually. By like how an end user interacts with the site. That's the manual testing. But for example, afterwards, where automation helps, like automation is like you have to write some code, and when you run that code, so this code it opens the screen. You will not open automatically. You write a code to open a website, click on some buttons, do some actions, and close the application. So you write a code to make sure that you perform whatever you are doing manually. You code and make sure that code will execute the test cases on behalf of you. That is automation, and you have so many tools to do that, like Cypress, Selenium, Test Cafe. These are all the tools which will help you write the code and automate, or it will simulate what a manual tester is doing. The same thing will be simulated by the code or by the tool. That is automation testing.
Thank you. That means QA tester needs to do the script too, right?
Correct. So QA tester has to write some code to, first, nobody will write code from the starting. First, you test it manually, understand what to test. Once you do everything manually, because where automation comes is, today you tested, developer has given you a login screen, and they have said, okay, in this sprint, we are only doing a login screen. In the next sprint, they will add some functionality like adding an item to the cart. During that time, you have to even test the whole application. Like again, you have to test login. Again, you have to test the old functionality with the new functionality. You cannot test only the new functionality. That's where automation comes into picture. And if you automate the old functionality, like you have already tested login screen in the previous sprint, now you write your automation scripts for the old functionality, so that that functionality will not change, and people will add more features in each sprint. So that's where automation, when you write an automation script, you execute the automation script for old functionality, and you concentrate testing manually on the new functionality. That's where automation comes and actually helps us testers save some time on testing the old functionality. You need not every time. For example, eventually, like you will Amazon, you're targeting for like a 1 year. Normally, companies will target like a new product has to be launched into the market. If somebody like comes up with a new product idea, then normally we will start development before 1 year or 1.5 years. They start this. So in 1 year, they start with sprints. Like they keep on adding incrementally, developing their application in an incremental way. So they keep on adding the functionality. During that time, for example, if you're in middle of like 6 months, whatever you have tested in the first week, you need to even test it in the sixth month. So that means that's where the number of cycles or the number of features got added into the product. The testing time increases a lot if you don't have automation. So that's where most of the companies wants people to do some automation scripts. And in some companies, they have a separate automation teams. They will have a separate manual testing teams. Some companies, they say manual testers also has to do automation. And some companies, there is like full stack. Everybody has to do everything. So there are different flavors in many companies.
Thank you, Kiran.
We'll go into the, I'll quickly walk through what concepts that we are planning to cover. So if anybody feels like something is missing, feel free to ask so that we can see if we can cover those or not. So the first week, we will target manual testing. And that too, when we say manual testing, we will talk about from IS to QB orientation as well. So all these concepts, like first I will give you like an introduction of software testing. What are the skills that is required for a software tester? And then these are all the processes, what is an SDLC? What is like in SDLC, there are different types like waterfall, agile. So we will talk about those techniques. Then the V model, like V model tells like when, at what stage, what kind of testing we have to apply. And there is also we'll also talk about some what is difference between verification, validation, what is QA, what is QC. All these are like terminologies that you need to be aware. It doesn't mean that, especially these things, many people will in QA interviews, these are all the concepts. They test your knowledge, whether do you have that QA knowledge, the terminologies. It's all about terminologies. Understand, if you understand the terminology correctly, you would be easily able to crack those interviews, and you will be confident when you're attending those interviews. So we'll target those and in the manual testing area. So we'll target about bug life cycles, different types of test. In manual testing, there are again different types of testing, like smoke testing, sanity testing. So different types of boundary value testing. So there are different types of testings. So we will thoroughly look into those. What kind of testing artifacts that you have to produce while you're testing, and what kind of tools use. When you say tools, these are not automation tools. Like you would be using a tool to log bugs. You would be using a tool to write test cases. You would be using some tool to understand the requirements. So to read requirements. So we will talk about all those kinds of tools eventually a tester will be using in a day-to-day life. And then how testing is different currently in Agile or Scrum projects. And we'll also talk about, this is why when we say testing in real-time projects, how do you interact? At what stages do you interact with what people, or what teams? You at some stage you interact with your business analysts. At some stage, you interact with your developers. Some stage, you interact with product owners or end users. So when you will interact, how you will interact in a real-time project, or while executing a real project, how is the pattern? We look into that. And it is also very important that you understand your system architecture before testing. And this is very important even when you're attending interviews. Then people will first ask is, what kind of system have you tested? If did you test any web applications? Did you test APIs? Did you test some ETLs? Did you test some Windows applications? So when you say some web application, it has some architecture. So we will talk about that, so that you have to. We'll talk about how do you explain. We'll talk about a web application, what kind of an architecture you will have, and when you understand that architecture, you'll be able to know what to test as well in that architecture. So we will cover that, and we'll have automation tools overview, not in depth here, just an overview, and I'll give you a ISTQB preparation guide. There is a PDF file. So we will, I'll give you that PDF file. So next 5 days, you can, this is a very easy one, ISTQB. I completed ISTQB around, I think in 2008 or 9, somewhere during that time. If we prepare for 2 weeks, we can easily crack the ISTQB. So it will come only from that syllabus. There's nothing outside that, and I think it's also all multiple choice questions, so we can easily crack ISTQB exam with that PDF file. So I'll share that as well, and we'll talk about some interview techniques. So that actually gives a good overview of the manual testing. So once you have that, then we will move on to prerequisites of automation, and then goes to automation. Anyone feels that something we are missing here?
Hi, Kiran. My name is Kirti. Actually, I had one question regarding ISTQB. So while we are giving the ISTQB, this is the beginner's certification, right?
Correct.
Intermediate certification. So if you have to give the other, means next level of certification, do we need any experience to give that?
No. We don't need any experience for next level of ISTQB, but I think that will be overkill right now for a next level. Okay. Nobody, at least in an IT, nobody would expect a second level of certification. It's a rare, okay. At least till now. I did not see any of my colleagues who has a second level, and nobody expects in any interview also for a second level of all that. What it gives is when we say ISTQB certified, it gives you a confidence for the interview, other whoever is interviewing you. It gives you a confidence. Okay, this candidate knows the basics of testing. That's all required for manual testing. If I am interviewing a candidate for a manual testing, I make sure that he or she knows the basics of what is what. Like, does he know what is the difference between QA and QC, or a verification or validation, types of testing they have to do. So if that's the assurance that ISTQB certification gives. And don't need more than that for the next level, which will be little overkill.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that's, I think 6 hours of that's 1 week would be sufficient to cover these concepts. But there is no hard and fast rule of this 4 weeks or 6. It depends upon your interest, and also if we have to cover an extra 1 week, we can definitely take up. If something we are not able to cover, it's not hard and fast rule that we will close this session exactly by week 4. If you're not able to cover something in those 6, we will definitely, maybe we can take 1 more extra week to cover those. So, but definitely we will make sure we cover these things, whatever in the agenda. So that once we cover this manual testing, the next thing is, even before learning in Selenium tool, we should know some basics of Java. So Java is a very vast this thing, but for a tester, we need not know all the nuances of Java end to end. The basics understanding of Java is actually very easy. There is some people might get scared of, oh, Java is very difficult. It is very hard to learn or hard to understand. But if you rightly know that, we need not go into, like, a developer might know what is Spring Boot, techniques of Spring Boot, but as a tester, for automation tester, we need not know all those things. We need not even know, to start with, we need not even know about polymorphism or some advanced loops concepts. Basics of Java is sufficient to excel in automation or excel in Selenium. So that's what we will cover in the core Java essentials. So we will cover about data types, variables, arrays and collections, some basics of classes and objects. So how do you debug a program? Everything using Eclipse. We use Eclipse as our developer environment. So we use that. We will also, Maven is one of the important concepts that we have to learn. So that's also part of Java. We will cover that. So we will make sure that once you have a good understanding about core Java, you can easily grasp the Selenium knowledge. Selenium is built upon this Java. So that's why before directly moving on to Selenium, we thought of like making sure we first go into the prerequisites of Selenium, core Java. Once you are well-versed, confident on Java, then we will start on the Selenium. So Selenium, again, we divided Selenium into 2 parts. One is the basics of Selenium, other one is advanced Selenium. So first we will learn about how do you install, set up the Selenium, then you test some components and you test, and then how do you identify objects in your application? How do you do add assertions? And this is a framework. TestNG is a framework. How do you do that TestNG framework? There is an acceptance test-driven development. These are some concepts. We will cover that Cucumber and ATDD, acceptance test-driven development. So we'll cover those concepts, and Jenkins will cover a concept. Jenkins is useful for executing these test cases automatically. So we will cover those concepts. Yeah, I think somebody has some doubt.
Yeah. No, actually, Selenium automation testers should know Jenkins also, because it's a build tool, right?
All right. So this is a good to know. It is a good to have. We should have a knowledge. This is something in interview. If somebody says I worked on Selenium, but if somebody says I don't know Jenkins, it gives it doesn't give a good perspective to the interviewer. So definitely we should because in a real-time projects, when somebody is working on a Selenium or automation, they have to run these automation scripts automatically. So that's where the Jenkins helps us. So that if somebody says, I have automation knowledge, but I don't know about Jenkins, that is little a negative. It will not give a good impression on the candidate for the interviewer. So that's where we should understand what is importance of Jenkins. How it's a very Jenkins, believe me, it will with if we it will not even to understand what is Jenkins, it will not even take more than half an hour. And it is very easy concept. There's nothing to worry about Jenkins. It is a must-have. It is from my end. If I'm interviewing any candidate, if that candidate says he has automation knowledge, and if he says he doesn't know about Jenkins or he never worked on Jenkins, then it is little susceptible. Maybe he's not a right a real-time experience candidate. So that's why Jenkins is an important topic.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So Selenium is one of the automation tool, right? So there are so many other tools are also available. So how comes, I don't know, maybe other tools may be popular, but I only heard about the Selenium. How come this tool is so popular, and how this tool is different from the other tools?
Great question again. So Selenium, right? This tool is there for a long time, and it is more popular in a because most of the companies has a separate team, like separate. For example, 90% of companies has a separate QA team, and they have a separate development team. And the separate QA team, this Selenium is a website can be developed in Node.js, or website can be developed in Angular or React. But irrespective of developers tools, a Selenium can be used in to test any kind of an web application, irrespective of its technology. That's why Selenium is more popular. And see, you can use Selenium with Java. You can use Selenium even with Python. You can use Selenium with JavaScripting as well. So there are multiple flavors, but majority of them, they use Selenium with Java. That is the 90% I saw in industry. People will be, even in the interviews, they ask like Selenium with Java combination, because that is the most popular, and Java is most popular. But that's one thing why Selenium is more popular is, irrespective of developers can use any tool, but one team might use Angular, one team might use React, or one team might use something like Python Django or any other tools. But you can use if a tester knows one Selenium tool, he can work in any other with any team to automate those websites. That's why Selenium is popular. And nowadays why other tools are popular is, especially for example, nowadays, as I said, like full stack developers are mostly working in UI. Developers will mostly work on JavaScript. So that is where this Cypress and Testcafe are on Java. Like if I am developing a website on JavaScript, I can also write my test cases or automate my test cases using the same technology. I need not know Java, or I need not learn a new language for automating my application. For that's where people who are in a teams where people are developing as well as automating, in those teams, this Cypress and Testcafe are popularly being used. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So you were saying like I understand something. So Selenium, the main feature is it can be easily integrated with Java. And other tools are like specific to some languages, right? But Selenium can go with Java along with any other languages too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And if you are familiar with Selenium, you can easily work with Cypress or any other tool because the concept is same, identifying an object.
Okay.
So identifying an object or doing some assertions or executing in Jenkins. So even if you write Cypress script, you have to execute it in Jenkins. So you have to identify objects using XPath or CSS. So all these concepts are same. It is just a different language, a different tool. So all the concepts will be same. Like page object, if you learn page object model in Selenium, there is page object model in TestCafe. So if you are well versed in one tool, you can easily grasp. You can easily work in any other Cypress or TestCafe, other automation tools. All has a similar concept, similar this thing. Their UIs are different. Their testing instead of Java, you have to use JavaScripting. So these only those things are different, but otherwise predominantly 80% of the concepts are same in any tool.
Sure. I think it's a good interview question. We can answer whatever you answer to me. So what is the advantage? Yeah. So two advantages I know.
You can definitely say, if somebody says, hey, do you have Cypress experience? You can say, I'm very good at Selenium. I can easily learn that Cypress and implement because it's all the same concepts.
Right. Thank you so much.
That is why we are not because if we have to concentrate on Cypress and TestCafe, different tools, then this we have to like extend this workshop to another 4 or 5 weeks. So that's why it's not worth the time. So we have to be well versed in one tool, and we will give the overview of other tools so that you can compare. When we are doing that, you yourself will be comparing. Okay, with the Selenium word, like you can compare Cypress. When I say when I'm doing an object identification in Cypress, you can compare how we are doing object identification in Selenium, and you can compare those and relate to it. So we need not spend a lot of time again on object identification on Cypress. On same concepts will be there in these tools. So we need not spend a lot of time. We just need to give you a flavor so that you know what is what.
Sure. So this Selenium is a free tool or like it's a licensed tool?
All these testing frameworks are all free tools. Anyone can download Selenium, Cypress, TestCafe. All these are like good question. Again, these are all. There's nothing. There are, like, for example, Cypress. There is a free tool. There is also, like, if you a paid tool there. Enterprise. There is an enterprise version if somebody wants some support. Or they are giving some, instead of using Jenkins, they have their own automatically executing stuff. They have their own platform. So if somebody don't want to use Jenkins, want to have their own platform.
It's 9 o'clock, baby. You have to sleep. We have to arrange bed for you, baby.
Looks like somebody is.
Soumya, you muted.
No, it's not mine. It's not mine.
Yeah.
I think
sorry, Soumya.
Yeah, I think not Soumya. It's Nancy. Okay, good. I think. Okay. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, there are some paid versions of the tool, but we don't need to. Even we are using in our project Cypress, the open source tool itself. When I'm working with TestCafe, it is also open source. So anyone can go to TestCafe site, Cypress site, Selenium site, download what is the free version. That is good enough for a real-time project.
Okay, sure. So like for a learning perspective, like we can have the hands-on practice on this. We can download and we can have the practice as well,
True.
right?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Actually, it's really helpful.
Another main thing I want to stress is, right, there are so many videos, or there are so many sites. If you go to any udemy.com, if you say search for Selenium, there would be like 40 hours, 60 hours course content. But you really don't need to go and because of, you know, those are for you. You need, we need not, you know, here we are covering in this, we make sure we cover the core concepts. And once you are understanding what is the core, you then it is up to you to how you build upon that core. When you want to build upon that core, that's where you need, maybe you can go and take one Udemy course. Then you understand in that course exactly what is the concept that you have to cover. We will even suggest some courses for you whenever you have, if you are really interested, want to take your learning to the next level, then you can focus on those like 40 hours, 60 hours courses that you can take on Udemy. But to crack an interview or to get that confidence to do some manual automation testing on your own, I think whatever we are covering in this workshop would give you that level of confidence.
Sure. So I have one more question. Right, you are talking about the interview perspective, right? So I'm just talking about myself. For example, like if I'm going to give an interview, so interview wants to know what you have done in the past, like whether you are a fresher or you are an experienced. So experienced person must be having some project, and as a fresher, they might have done some hands-on, some project like to build their portfolio. So it really gives the topic to the interviewer as well as the the person who is giving the interview to just to talk upon something, to build the conversation. So like in this training also, if I will be getting the hands-on experience and the portfolio which we can put on our resume, that thing I think something will really help, and that's where I was lacking. Like if you have something to talk about and you have actually done, you will feel more confident about it, and your concept will be more clear whether you have experience or not. But definitely, yeah, I have worked on this project and I have faced this issue and how I resolve this issue. This will give a positive feedback to the upon the interviewer. So that's
Yeah, that's a great topic, Soumya. It's great that you brought that up. We will definitely cover that in the Selenium. Once we complete this, what you can do is the next 5 days, like we will cover all the manual testing concepts. Sorry, I think. Yeah, we will cover all the manual testing concepts. Then you will be having 5 days of you can start implementing what you learned. What we will do, what I'll do is I will select like 3 or 4 domains, and I will give you a site, an online site. You can do your testing. You write your test cases, talk about that. Main important thing is a domain. When you say, when you're attending an interview, especially in manual testing, they look at is what domain did you test? Have you tested? Have you tested in online retail websites, or have you tested any banking or financial sites? Have you tested any healthcare applications? These are some of the things they look into. So when you say, okay, I tested some healthcare application, they say, okay, you have to talk about the domain of that healthcare and what kind of application, like something like in healthcare, right? A patient registration. When a patient comes, you enter all the patient details, you register them, then you enter his insurance details, then you claim the insurance detail. You once the patient comes and takes a treatment, you send a claim to the insurance. So these are all the things you can talk. in an online, for example, an online domain, retail domain, you can talk about Amazon or Walmart or Target, these kind of websites, what kind of functionality is there. Banking, you can talk about the functionality of a banking. So we can give you some projects, hands-on projects. You can come up with how you execute those. Thinking some real-time project, take Amazon.com. You execute some test cases on Amazon.com. You execute. I will find out some by the time we complete this next week. I will find out some sites that you can think that's your QA testing site that you have to test and execute. And you can, by end of that week, you can come up with your own, how you can show, like, how do you show when somebody says, once you test in the real time, you have to show your artifacts, like, I have tested these many test cases, these are the bugs I have logged. So we can come up, we can definitely come up with those kind of use cases after our workshop, so that would be a good hands-on for you to implement these testing concepts.
Yeah, thank you so much. Because I asked this question just because ultimately we all have to face the interview, and that is our main objective. So
yeah, that's the main objective, even for our workshop, is to make sure you're comfortable. First of all, you should be comfortable with the concepts. Right. You should be comfortable by end of the workshop. You should get the idea of how a QA tester will function in a project. And you get a confidence when you write, you will get a confidence when you execute one automation test script by yourself. You like Amazon.com, you write your own login script and you execute the script. Once you execute that script, you automatically get that confidence. So I saw many people who wants to enter into QA and one QA role, but they just study the concept, but they don't have that hands-on before going to interview, and they don't have that confidence in that interview when they twist some question and interviewer twists some question and asks you don't get that confidence if you just study a concepts and go. So that's where we target here, is to give you that confidence by making sure you run those scripts by yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, great questions. Yes, just keep asking these so that we will have some meaningful discussion and we can improve on our content as well.
So, Kiran, so this ISTQB, this particular certification that is mentioned here, is it must to apply the job?
No, it is not a must. It is only an add-on to, it will give you some weightage on while you're going for an interview. So it is not at all in must and should. It is good to have. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So once we cover all these Selenium, then we will move, because just manual testing and automation testing is not the QA. So QA, when we say we are testing an application, it involves some APIs as well. Nowadays, there is no application without an API. Everything is API driven. So you will have front-end screens, but any front-end screen has to interact with an API. When I'm taking always an Amazon.com so that everyone can easily understand. So in Amazon.com, when we say search for, when I go to a category like household goods category, it calls some API in the backend, and it fetches the data, and the data which is given by that API is displayed in the UI. So there is all the API testing is very important and a must have, so that if somebody says I have tested but I have not tested any APIs, it gives a wrong impression for them. So you should always nowadays there is no application without APIs. So it is very important to to know how to test an APIs. And it is okay to say I did not do performance testing, but it is not okay to say I don't know APIs or I have not tested an API. So it's very important. So first we will cover API testing. How do you use? This is very easy. There is nothing again. 45 minutes on API testing is sufficient to make you understand about what is an API, how do we test it using Postman. It's very easy to do. So that is one thing we will cover. Performance testing it's not a must. It's again good to have. It is again performance testing. We will not go in depth. Basics of performance testing. If somebody just from interviews perspective, and then actually RPA we will cover last. RPA, because I personally have not worked hands-on on RPA because we did a POC for RPA. So I will give you my POC knowledge, whatever we did for a client on RPA. I will tell you. This is also good to have. RPA itself is a separate concept and separate separate area altogether. But we will give you a good understanding of what is RPA and how RPA is different from automation testing. That you need to understand. So that kind of knowledge we will give you in this session. But before RPA, nowadays everything is browser. There is no 5 years or 6 years back, or there is this Windows applications or client-side applications are more prevalent. But now everything is web. So most of the applications are web-based. So when I say web-based, you need to understand how the browser dev tools. When I say browser dev tools, every browser will have its own. If we say here more tools, developer tools. So we need to understand. A tester should have a good understanding about these developer tools. So it's very easy concept. We need to know about these developer tools. This is for both manual tester and automation tester. Everybody has to have a good understanding about these browser tools. So that again, this is a very good interview topic as well. So if you have to understand, so we will cover about that. Again, this is also a half-an-hour discussion topic. We will understand what is this developer tools, how to use this developer tools in our last week of the session workshop, and then we will go to Git. We will try to cover Git here itself in Selenium. That's Git comes with Selenium. Whatever the code you write, you have to put it in some source code. So that's where Git overview would help you. So again, everyone everyone will ask, where did you keep you wrote the script, but where did you keep your scripts? How do you do source control on your scripts? That's where the Git comes into. So we will talk about Git. We'll talk about scripting overview. This is where not just automation. Sometimes you have to write your own scripts. That's where some bash scripts and Python script. We will cover about scripting. When we cover about scripting, we will give, this will take like 1 hour on like half an hour for JavaScript, half an hour on Python, maybe half an hour on Bash. So 1.5 hour we will cover more about, we will understand what is the difference between a scripting language, what is the difference between Java. Java is a compiled language, and scripting, you will understand those base concepts. Once you understand the base concepts, it is very easy. You can build upon yourselves on those things. Then we'll talk about interview preparation from automation perspective, and then we'll again, once we complete this, we will give you a like how we discussed, like to give you a sample project. Here also, whatever the sample project you did on manual testing, you will do the same project. You automate the same manual test cases here in automation. We will try to do that, and then implement, test it with API. Make sure we will pick some application which has those APIs, so you will be able to test that APIs as well. So that's how once we cover all these topics, then definitely you will be having an edge on all the things. Only thing what we are not covering or not extensive or doing is only 2 concepts. One is database testing. So if anyone interested, maybe we can have something on that as well. But we will see how these things goes. But I will give you some, documentation or some videos of what is database testing. And the next thing is some Linux. We should also need to know some concepts of Linux, because some applications will be deployed on some, not must and should, but some applications will be deployed on some server where if you're doing some backend application testing where there is no UI, there can be something. So at some times, some might expect you to look into Linux as well. But that again depends upon case to case when you're going into some interview. If that interview job description says Linux. So that's one thing. Those are the 2 things that we are not covering here, but we'll definitely give you some kind of guidance on or some material for you to refer when you have time. But those are the extra things, but these are must have. Whatever we are covering here, it's I think with that, like that's what I did. Actually, I thought like this would be like 1 hour session, but looks like went above. But yeah, great discussion, great questions. Let me know if you have any more questions on our workshop.
So yeah, I have one question. Like apart from this, from the interview perspective, like apart from this QA knowledge, what a interviewer, what a skill set is required to becoming a QA?
As I said, this is the end-to-end QA skill set. Only, as I said, only missing thing is database and Linux. So those as well will give you. I'll try to give you the first of all the recordings will be there. This will be shared with you, as well as for you to refer. We will send some links, some videos or Udemy courses. So in that I'll try to cover even those Linux, so that those are the things you can, from interviews perspective. But that is, we are covering JMeter, we are covering scripting, apart from manual automation, we are covering API testing. We are essentially covering all the things. So we are covering all the breadth of the QA. We are not going in depth. In depth is, if because all these things, whatever we are covering, we can take one topic and keep on going in depth for weeks. So that's not the idea of this workshop. This idea of the workshop is to make sure you understand the breadth of the QA area, so that you can and prepare you for QA interviews. And once you are there, once you are in the job, then you can explore in depth of a particular. For example, if you attend an interview, you crack the interview, now you're starting your job, and when in your job you came to know you have to do more of web testing, and in that there is more APIs testing, then you can take your time, before starting the job, you can spend extensively on API testing and go in depth of APIs testing. So, somebody said, oh, you have to use Cypress in your job. Then you can spend more time on Cypress and go in depth into Cypress. So those are some of the things that. So that what I meant to say is that is why we are not covering unnecessarily in depth into one topic in right now. So based on your job profile or job, once you crack into our main intention is to make sure you crack an interview successfully.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate your effort and time and clearing our doubts. And thank you for your time.
No problem.
Hey, Kiran, by saying that, all this course or workshop, what we'll be doing in a month, is it going to be helpful to do the certification to take the tests?
Definitely. The certification, as I said, will certificate ISTQB. Here we are not doing any there is no certification for especially Selenium or Cypress. There is no proven certificates for those two automation tools. So there is only proven certificate or industry recognized certificate only for manual testing. That is ISTQB is the main thing. There is other industry certificates, very costly certificates like CST, there is one CSTQB. Not sure exactly. I don't remember the other certificates, but ISTQB is a easy certificate, not very costly, easy to write, and also easy to crack. That is why it's a low-hanging fruit to target for, and it's not again mandatory. But this is the only certificate we are targeting for a new to the industry.
Okay,
and we will share a PDF for this ISTQB. That PDF is the only source that is the only syllabus from which you get the all the questions from.
Thank you, Kiran.
Kiran, can you share this agenda to us?
Sure, sir. I think I'll share it to Ravi. We can share it to the
Yeah.
part. Yeah. Okay, then. Ravi, do you have any other closing comments?
Thanks, Kiran. Thanks so much. Team, if you have any further question, please let us know. Okay, let me know. I will get them answered. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, ISTQB is really good. I really encourage you guys target that. It's very easy. It's not with any specific technology, right? It's like a just framework, QA framework. And definitely Kiran will do a great job. I have full confidence on it. And as a part of this course, please target that one also. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Kiran, I am good, Kiran.
Okay.
Team, yeah, team, if you are okay, we can let him go. Yeah, we can have a brief chat. Okay, please stay online. And Kiran, thank you. And
Thank
Kiran,
you, Kiran.
yeah, Kiran, please make me host.
Sure. I will make you host. for the share. Yeah, I'm making you the host. And again, thank you all. Thanks for your time. Great questions. Thanks for making this a very interactive session. See you in the upcoming videos, upcoming workshop. Bye.
Kiran, thank you so much for your time, and it's really awesome. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Kiran.